Living alone as a poor class in the Philippines. As of 2020 report, the poor class in the Philippines has a monthly income below 10,957 pesos or roughly $198.95. Today, as of 2022, inflation and prices of basic needs increased. One thing stayed the same, the salary and minimum wage didn't increase on where I live. The pandemic didn't help. A lot of people lose their jobs. Poor people still worked and mostly took risky jobs face to face in order to feed their families. I belong to the poor class in the Philippines ever since I moved out. This is my daily life living alone as someone who belongs to the poor class. Please keep in mind that people who belong in the poor class have different statuses too. We all have different priorities. Some have television, mobile phones, and some can't afford it. Some doesn't have roofs, some got roofs to sleep at night. Some houses of the poor class here looks prim and neat and some doesn't even look like a typical house to begin with. Some are educated, even graduate of college degrees, yet remains poor because of the competition in the Philippines. No matter how much the average poor class strive, get an education and all the skills they need, luck still plays a big part in life. I would discuss that on another video. The number of people in a family that belongs to the poor class affects the way of their living. Fast food chain crews, baggers and cashiers here in Philippines have college degrees, literate in English and competitive. So much demand and requirements for a low-paying and minimum wage job. That is how we live here in a third world country. I am lucky enough that I only feed myself. But still, I need to take sidelines just to have an extra money. Going out and eating out on fast food is a luxury already for us, and probably just on special occasions like birthdays or other special celebrations. Drinking directly at the faucet is a thing. I installed a P30 or 54 cents filter at the faucet. I am not sure if it helps, but we will use what we can afford. Sadly, you will also need a little extra money if you get sick, which is very hard if you don't have savings. As for me, since I am living alone, I can afford to treat myself to a fast food at least once a month, but that comes last on my list. I also get rejected often on offices because of the stigma on mental health and my record. Getting a PWD to get a bit of discount will require you at least 1 year of record on a psychologist. Again, you need money to afford that. The medication given to me is clearly something I cannot sustain to go back and forth weekly. Given my weak immune system, mental health problem and asthma, I literally had a nightmare looking for a job that I can do. I live on a tiny room with a little sink and comfort room. I do not own a refrigerator, but I am saving to buy a small one for it for months now. I do not cook rice most of the time and just eat bread with fried egg. Noodles and canned goods are staples on my daily living. Sometimes I do have the privilege to cook some real dish, but it costs so much, so I stick on noodles, eggs and bread for now. The most important thing is, as a poor class in the Philippines, I can only afford to eat 2 times a day maximum. I skip breakfast and just eat lunch and dinner, no snacks. Although I have a box of biscuits that has been with me for some months already, I never include snacks on my budget because it is not necessary. So buying those box of biscuits is the most practical for me as it can last longer. At this rate, I am still lucky because a lot of people on the poor class is living with a family that they all need to feed daily. I am just one of the faces of the poor class here in the Philippines who is living alone struggling with mental health. At the end of the day, no matter how we strive and work, the opportunity of an average poor person to actually be accepted is little to none. Competing with people with connections, money, and privileged people. Those are just facts and the harsh reality of living on a third world country. Still, I do dream of a better tomorrow. with hard work and to hope luck will come my way. One day I can at least cook real dishes, eat home cooked rice daily on my table, drink cold water coming from a refrigerator and not feel guilty about it on spending on those privileges. Good night.